Hi. Today I want to talk to you about how to hold the double bass to play it while standing up. I see kids come to me all the time. I see kids in orchestra classes all the time who are playing their instruments standing up and who are having a really hard time of it. I think it is one of the most commonly mistaught skills of all the things that I see amongst young bass players. So today I wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about how to hold the instrument in just a nice basic setup for playing the bass while standing up. Main things you should be looking for. Holding the bass should be completely relaxed. You can see me standing here. I'm standing comfortably. I am not using my hands to hold up the instrument. It's very similar in one of the first steps you do to a violin or a viola players. You teach them how to hold the instrument up on their shoulder without using their hands to support it. Holding a bass standing up is the same thing. You should not be using your hands to support the instrument. So anyway, I'll go through some of the steps to get this basic setup, which is the first step that you need to go through in holding the bass successfully standing up. People will have big arguments. I've had all kinds of arguments about whether to start young bass players sitting down or standing up. My contention in the matter is that it really doesn't matter at all. It's like French bow or German bow. It can be done successfully either way, sitting down or standing up. And there are some advantages and disadvantages to each. Personally, I start my beginners standing up. If you've seen some of my other videos, you'll see that when I play sitting down. But the real reason I do that is because I have a foot injury, and if I play standing for much more than an hour, then my foot really starts to hurt. I played standing up for years and years, and personally I prefer it. Here are a couple of things that I think are advantages to starting out standing up. First, I find among my students that you end up with better posture from students who start standing up. Kids who sit on stools really get slouchy. Standing up solves that problem, right? And it's the same in violin or viola. If you can start out standing up and you play standing up all the time, then the body's natural posture comes into place much more easily. Now, I've heard people tell me, oh, but I've had the exact opposite problem. People who start standing up have all kinds of crazy posture things. They end up playing their bass all like this. But the issue is that those students have not been taught correctly how to play standing. I think when standing is taught correctly, you end up with better posture. And that has been my repeated experience with starting many beginners, either in private lessons or mostly in the public school setting. The other thing that I really like about playing standing, even though I really can't do it anymore because of my foot, is that you have a lot more freedom. I am a more musical player when I play standing because you have this freedom of motion that you don't get sitting. When you're seated, you're rooted to a spot, and I feel less musical. I feel more musical as a standing player. So those are the real two reasons why I prefer to start my beginner standing. I think you end up with better posture, and I think it allows you to be more musical. It gives you more freedom of movement with the instrument, which I enjoy. So anyway, here are the steps. And the first thing you want is to get a no hands hold. You start comfortable, shoulder width apart stance. So if you can see my feet, hopefully we've got my feet comfortably in the frame here. I'm just standing comfortably. Next thing I'll do is I'll stand maybe a little bit more relaxed. I'll take my left leg here and just relax my left leg a little bit. One of the very common problems that I see people doing, kids do, is they'll kind of squat down and they'll bend this knee out really far, which is a problem. You don't want to do that. You just want to be comfortable. I'll start with the feet shoulder width apart, comfortable stance, and I'll just relax. I'll let my left knee just go a little bit soft. Just relax as if I'm standing talking to a friend. The instrument leans into my body like this. All right, there are 3 points of contact, and this is one of the important things that people need to understand before they'll be able to control the instrument like this, comfortably holding it with their body, no hands. 3 points define a plane, geometrically speaking. And you have 3 points of contact with the instrument. One of them is where the end pin hits the floor. The other is where this curved surface on the instrument comes into contact with your abdomen right above where your leg bends. The other is this back corner of the bass right here comes in contact with the inside of your knee. And if you want to feel along the inside of your left kneecap, you'll feel that there's a little crease right here between the ball of the kneecap and the side of your knee over here. If you find that little crease, right there in that little crease, I'm going to want to fit the corner of the instrument. So I'll stand the instrument up, I'll lean it over to me. I've got this crease right here in my knee joint, touching the corner of the instrument, 3 points of contact, and I'm comfortably holding the instrument with no hands. This is the first step towards playing the bass standing up, and until the kids have this, they don't have anything else. They don't do anything until this step is mastered. Balancing the bass, holding it with no hands. Some things you may want to look at that can help you get the kids achieving this. One of them is height of the instrument, and this is something that there are various opinions, and people will argue all day and all night. Kind of like, do you start them standing up or do you start them sitting down? Well, it doesn't really matter if you do it right. How tall should the bass be? I'll give you my opinion. There are other people that will disagree. I think that when you lean the bass over to you, and the bass should lean towards you just a little bit, if you notice upright on the bass, see here's where the bass itself balances, about right there, about right there. It leans into my body about so much. You don't want it leaning too far. You don't want it too vertical, because then you have no control over it, it falls away. So leaning into your body just a little bit. Once the bass is leaned into your body enough so that you can control it, I like to have my eye level with the nut. There are other people that will tell you that your eye should be level with the first finger. I think anywhere in this range with the eye level between the nut and the first finger is acceptable. Some reasons for this: it partly depends on the kind of playing I'm doing. If I'm doing a lot of orchestral playing and I'm living my life basically in first and half positions, I find eye level with the nut much more comfortable. If I put eye level to first finger, then I'm reaching behind my head to play in half position, and it causes all kinds of tension up here in my shoulder. Now, on the other hand, if I'm working on concertos and I'm always playing like up here in the thumb position and I'm having to bend over, personally, I will raise the instrument up a little bit, and it makes it easier to reach these very high notes. For most kids starting out, eye level with the nut, they're not going to reach this stuff. Number one, if they ever take private lessons. Number two, when they reach that point, they can deal with that with their private teacher. For starting out beginners who are going to be playing in this region of the instrument, I think eye level with the nut is much more comfortable, keeps some tension out of the shoulder. Now, an exception to this is maybe if you've got a young one whose arms aren't long enough, you're going to want to make sure that when they're standing shoulder square, arms relaxed, that they can at least reach the bow line with their bow, this area halfway between the bridge and the fingerboard. So you may have to make some compromises. Eye level with the nut, but the bow doesn't reach, well, maybe then you have to raise it up a little bit so that the bow can reach comfortably. So you have to experiment with that a little bit by individual. But just the same, so you want to get the height, eye level with the nut as a starting point, and you can adjust it from there based on the build of the student. 3 points of contact: the floor, the inside of the knee, right above where your leg bends on your abdomen, comfortably with no hands. Be very careful that you're watching out for this back knee, that kids don't try to do like this to hold it. That's a very common mistake. Just comfortable. So there's my first lesson on holding the instrument standing. We'll get to the bow here in just a minute. I'll start another video for that. There will be a link popping up somewhere like right around here maybe. I'll see if I can put a link there to take you to the next video for once you've got the position established. We'll add the bow into that. Thank you very much. If you liked this video, if you found it helpful, please click this other link that's going to be, maybe I'll put it over here. Leave me a comment, subscribe to my channel. Thank you very much.